One way to get the status of PHP-FPM is to run this command, service PHP 7.0-FPM status. There's the command, and I'm going to run it. However, this video is not about this command line command for getting the status. This video is about using the HTML version of the PHP-FPM status. But since we're here with the command line, I'm going to take a look at that one first. From here, we can see that there's two processes running. And then there's two process IDs. There's this one and this one. And it does say that PHP 7 FPM is active and running. There's a main process ID, and then there's this other process. I don't know really what the difference is between them. And here it tells you there's active processes, how many requests, and the traffic, requests per second. There's something called C group, which basically is showing you the slices, and apparently these are all process IDs. And there's one master. Down here, I guess it's showing you the log file, the first two entries in the log file. That's what the command line version of status shows you. Now we want to see what we can get with the web page, the status web page version of this. But first, I think we're going to have to set it up, and we might have to learn a little bit more about PHP-FPM because we're going to be going over the pool configuration file for www. Here in PHP Storm, I have a read-only version of that. It's easier to read it in here because it's not like Nano. So I think what happens is when the PHP-FPM manager is running, it generates child processes on this server. And this is the configuration file for them. And on this server, these processes they're started by the www pool. But up here it says start a new pool named www. Actually, what they mean is this is the start of the configuration file because this file does not start anything, okay? Anyways, the variable $pool can be used in any directive and will be replaced by the pool name, which is www. The reason for that is that's so they can make this file generic and be on every server where there's a pool. They'll just put a copy of this file and just change this part up here. This section up here basically talks about this statement right here, which allows prefix to be assigned a value. And it says that this is the per pool prefix. It only applies on the following directives, these ones up here. When not set, the prefix or /USR applies instead. Note, this directive can also be relative to the global prefix, default value none. Since we only have one configuration file for a pool on this server, leaving this commented out is just fine because it says it'll put the default one. Okay. Next we have the Unix user and group, and those are set to be the same user and group for Apache on an Ubuntu system. It says the user is mandatory. That's why these aren't commented out. If the group is not set, the default users group will be used. And we have this pool configured to listen on the loopback IP on port 9000. There's a variable here which defaults to 511 and its name is listen.backlog. Listen owner and listen group are the same as user and group up here, and listen mode defaults to 0660, whatever that means. Listen allowed clients, and it allows you to specify an IP address. I believe that's if we want to restrict the fast CGI listener to listening for requests made only on this IP address. What does PM stand for? PM stands for Process Manager. So setting PM equals dynamic, that's talking about choosing how the process manager will control the number of child processes. And when we choose dynamic, that means that these variables here, which we set down here, are going to set the number of child processes. It says the below defaults are based on a server without much resources. Don't forget to tweak the PM dot asterisk, in other words, all of these settings here, to fit your needs. Max children 5. Start servers. Min spare servers and max spare servers. Process idle timeout. Max requests. That's the number of requests each child process should execute before respawning. This can be useful to work around memory leaks in third-party libraries. For endless request processing, specify 0 equivalent. Okay, default value is 0. The URI to view the FPM status page. Okay, so now we're getting to the part that I was originally interested in. And since this video has already been long, I'm going to upload it and we'll pick it up right here in the next video.